Hello.
Hey there.
Hello and
Hello.
welcome to the CDCFDA, Center for Disease Consideration from Different Angles. And, we hope to publish truth, empower youth. And humans are naturally self-healing. All right, it's Tuesday night. It's the first day of spring. We do this every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight we have a special guest, Val Zimmer. He's the author of Vaccines, Viruses, and Bacteria, Not What You've Been Told. I bought the book last year, read it 2 or 3 times. It's a great read. He takes the data that is given to us from these agencies and shows us that they come to wrong conclusions, that their conclusions are different than what we're actually seeing. All right, so it's Tuesday night, CDCFDA, special guest Val. And as you know, we always start off with Doc Smith teaching us and going through Qigong.
Well, we'll do our best. Here's a little copy of the Inner Canon, Huang Di's Neijing. I recommend get a copy of that and check it when you get a chance. And you'll learn about where these things were written thousands of years ago. Let's just take a moment and we'll feel into our posture here. We're going to feel on our inhales silently that our belly is expanding to the sides. We even feel our upper rib cage expanding. And on our breath out of the mouth, feel the crown of our head extending up to the heavens. A couple more times, wherever we are, we just feel on the inhale into the nose, expansion on the exhale. Stick the tongue out and breathe like a lion. You can do horse breath, which is like this, into the nose, then out of the mouth. And we're going to keep it at just this simple 3 breaths right here today, so everyone can feel the capabilities that we have to relax. When we have dis-ease and we're holding on to things, we can let it go with 3 breaths, even 1 breath. Out of the mouth. Into the nose silently. So we're not breathing too fast. We're not breathing shallow. We breathe slowly into the nose. And we detox out with purging breath. And as we do that, even if we're sitting down at a desk, we can expand the spaciousness inside of ourselves, and our posture becomes more empty. And Qigong is about developing a daily practice where we reinforce all of this, starting with this purging breath and posture. So if anyone is interested in this type of stuff and wants to incorporate this into their life to learn how to self-regulate our emotions, relieve pain, tension, things like that. It's really good for injury prevention. Very wide-ranging benefits of a daily Qigong practice. So we'll take one more breath. Feel the silent inhale into the nose. Expansion in all directions in the belly. And then out through the mouth. Feeling free to shake it out. Okay, thank you very much. Discern and Val for being here today. Another Tuesday, CDC FDA, where we consider disease from different angles. Maybe we think about the way that we're pronouncing the word. If you heard me, I just said disease, which is not really how it should be pronounced. It should be dis-ease.
Disease.
So there's only one word, I think, in the English language in our culture that we do this with the prefix dis. I would say dislocate or disrespect or whatever. I wouldn't say dislocate, but we say dis. So here at the CDC FDA, we're thinking about all these things from a different angle. And this breathing that we just experienced, we call it breath work, we call it qigong, we call it posture restoration. It's all these different things. The dis-ease that we're feeling is right here. So much of it is how we're holding on and processing this experience that we have. So everyone who's listening, you have permission to think about things in a completely different way from what you've heard on TV or how you read life. And we're opening up to taking everything with the grain of salt that we hear and considering it all from different angles. And we come back to a space here where we are with our breath and we go one step at a time. We know that we don't have to have it all figured out. And really it's about being right here and having gratitude and feeling ease.
That's right.
So with that being said, thank you very much for being here. Thank everybody for being here. We now have 24 people. Thank you all for being here. So I'm going to hand it back over to Discern. And Val, I'm very excited to hear a bit about your story. And Discern, please take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Doc Smith. Doc Smith teaches me so much. With the breathing, for me, I recognize and am cognizant of the present. And when you think about that, that's all we have. Worrying about the past, not going to help you. Worrying about anything, not going to help you. So we have the present. And so Doc and I are always trying to be positive and in the present. And just I appreciate Doc's, teaching so much. So thank you, Doc. All right. Enough of that. We got Val Zimmer, author of Vaccines, Viruses, and Bacteria, Not What You've Been Told.
And hey, real quick, I just want to say, because people don't really know who we are yet, you know what I mean? Discernment. You've worked 20 years with microscopes and wearing lab coats and all kinds of smart stuff, very sciencey. Well, it's important because you've gone all the way down that path. I was in the military, brother. Don't feel bad. We're all, we all do our crazy things. And
it was an experience.
Val, I'm excited to hear about what your story is, but I just want to make sure everybody knows Discernment. You've got a lot of that you bring to this too, my friend. So thank you.
Right. I've been breaking the indoctrination for at least 4 years now. So as Doc said, I've got a couple of degrees. I've been working as a molecular or disease biologist for 20 years.
You were one of them.
I was one of them.
You are one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just little things wake you up out of it, Anyway, it was a big thing in 2020 that woke me out of it. But I'm starting to talk about just the title of your book, Vaccines, Viruses, and Bacteria, Not What You've Been Told. It's so important you got it right in your title.
Yeah.
You're told things. You don't know things. You're right. So why do we just accept all that we're told and not figure things out for ourselves a lot of times? So Val goes into this with vaccines, viruses, and bacteria. And so at this point, I'm just gonna let Val talk about where he's coming from, and then of course his book. Before I just state that I've read the book, it's a quick, meaning not, it's a simple read, meaning anyone can comprehend it. And
Yep.
he
And
goes,
that's not insulting at all. It's a simple read. That's
it
what
is
it's
to
for.
some people.
It's for, it's for like an introduction. People who have no idea what's going on, they could read this 4 or 5 hours and say, "Holy crap, is this real?" Well, let me go read Dr. Cowan's book now. Let me read the Bailey's book now. It is. I cover a lot of subjects. I think I do a pretty good job. It snaps people. It's got to resonate, with people.
That's right, Val. And I just, the major thing that I remember from it, and I learned a lot from it. I think I know something, but you don't know something until you keep reading and you're looking past. And you're like, "Oops, I didn't know anything. Now I know something." And then again, it keeps happening. It's always going to keep happening. So Val uses the charts, graphs, and data that the scientists and studies and I don't know, CDC, et cetera, use, and just points out that their words are different than their conclusions. And so, Val, I'm going to give it back to you and let you talk about again yourself a little bit, and then of course your book, and then we'll ask you some more questions about it.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this about the book, and then I'll talk about my journey. But the book kind of takes you on a story, and it kind of walks people through, like, okay, these are vaccines. This is why you're supposed to take these. Oh, but look at the bad ingredients in it. Do we really need to take those? And then the next chapter goes on to, did vaccines do anything? And there's the chart. So, like, well, no, they didn't. Well, why is that? What causes disease? And then goes to that chapter. So it just takes people on a journey, and hopefully they're just, I know on Twitter a lot of times we say, and I try to meet people where they are. Sometimes I say, I think I said viruses don't cause disease, because if you say viruses don't exist, then you get jumped on. Say, if you say viruses don't cause disease, I get jumped on. No, they don't exist at all. It's like, I know. I'm trying to meet people where they are.
Both sides, right?
But my journey, I played sports. I was active. One thing I like to say, in my 20s and 30s, Ryan, you didn't worry about health. Like, I was working out at 17, playing sports, eating almost anything, and I was healthy. Compared to some of our friends on Twitter, they're 25 years old, and we're worried about health. That's how far wrong things are. But I had the initial vaccines when I was a baby. I guess 5 of them, only 5, I think. I think I had the smallpox. I'm not sure, but I think I was fine.
Looks like you didn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then I never got any of the flu vaccine. I wasn't up until AIDS, and we know this story. Nobody worried about viruses until 1980. Nobody worried about the flu. Nobody worried about chickenpox or anything. And even I remember, of course, we all get fever, we all get sick sometimes. But I can remember even 20 years ago, when I would get a fever, I would put a sweatshirt on, sweatpants, and I'd get in bed and I'd sweat. And oh my God, I felt so good within like 24 hours. And so, but I guess I thought I was killing the virus, like 15 years ago, I thought I was killing the virus.
Me too.
But like you said, when the COVID thing hit, we're home watching videos, and what led me to it, Dr. Cowan was a recording. He was given a speech, and the last 5 minutes he said, somebody wants me to talk about this COVID virus, and he just did about 5 minutes, and my mouth hit the floor, because he started talking about the Spanish flu around the radio towers, and Hong Kong around the radar. And then the next thing I looked at was Steve Falconer, the Spacebusters videos, the 2-hour long. And from there, I just couldn't get enough. I think the first book I bought was What Really Makes You Ill, Dawn Lester, and then Cowan's book. And I just video, podcast, I just was immersed. And then, I don't know, I never felt this calling, this like somebody shaking me, like you have to make a difference. Because then thinking about all of this, and then reading about vaccines, my son, who's okay now, but we had chronic ear infections. I mean, chronic, like, and the poor thing, I didn't know any better. We were on antibiotics constantly. His adenoids were so swollen, it's like he couldn't breathe or he couldn't swallow. Luckily, we didn't take him out. We never got to that. He had asthma. I was a really good athlete and I was real fast. And so when I had a boy, everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's so great! He can throw the football." He was the slowest kid on the soccer team. And as a proud father, I had to check myself after I was like, "Christopher, run. But he couldn't get air. He would get so red, and he was, he didn't have the inhaler or anything. But looking back on it now, he was vaccine damaged, and I apologize to him. I wish I knew then what I know now. And my grandkids are not going to have any vaccines. But yeah, so then I wrote the book and just trying to get the message out. And then when you read the story, and I think I have a pretty good story about polio, because you could read, was it The Moth in the Iron Lung? It's a great read. I read all the books. I read Furstenberg, The Invisible Rainbow. But I think I put polio down to like 4 pages, and it's enough for somebody to say, "Holy shit, is this right?" And then go look at it, So yeah, and then I'm on Twitter fighting the fight as much as I can. So that's about it. That's why we're here.
But real quick, what does anybody else hear the clicking sound? Clicking, click, click. No.
I don't think so. No, I don't hear.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing some kind of clicking that I hadn't heard before, but maybe it's me. This has been great, Val. I love your heart mind, my friend. I love what you said about meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
And,
working on it.
This is something that I've experienced exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like we're in the middle, and on one hand, I'll talk to somebody and I'll say, viruses don't cause disease. And they'll say, what? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Exactly.
Are you saying that it doesn't exist? You saying viruses don't exist? And I say, no, the thing is there. It's stuff. It's just some stuff. Right. That's all it is. It's just some stuff. It's nothing. You can take a picture of it. Just like you can take a picture of your thumb. Doesn't mean it caused anything. But I have noticed in this community online, people can get a little bit anal on things like that. And they're like, no, it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
You have to tell them that. And then the technicality is that because the word virus means poison, so this thing does not exist as a poison. It's not a virus. So it doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, I get it in the sense that you could see it that way. I get it.
Yeah.
But the point is, how do most people who are not with us yet, like, what is the bridge to them? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's been saying, look, they exist. The stuff is there. Yes, there are pictures of stuff, but there's way more plausible causes of these symptoms that actually makes sense, that we've known for a long time. So that's where I try to take it, is talking about these are not mysterious symptoms. We know what causes these things, but tell me, how did you what was kind of your journey on coming to the understanding of, we're not going to fight our way through this. We're going to have to come together. Right.
Yeah. I kind of stay out the little bickering, because there has been some bickering back and forth on some Telegram account, and I just kind of stay away, and I just keep posting my stuff. I try to make things colorful on my I got pictures and charts and funny little graphics just to attract attention, and just try to be logical. I mean, if anyone logical can see the truth that this viruses don't exist like they say. You know, if there is a particle, it could be exosome, dead cell debris,
extracellular vesicle. Who knows?
Which I touch on in my book. I try to, I reference Howard Hillman in my book. I reference Beauchamp. I mean, I kind of expose a lot. Like Hillman's just 2 pages, but it's enough, or it might be 4 pages because it's his whole letter he wrote about, all of these things.
The problem with molecular biology, cell
right?
biology. Yeah.
So, just that's his summary. So, but at least these people are exposed to it, and
so Hillman did this 40, 50 years ago, and he was ignored. And so they hide that information from biologists and people who want to learn. So we'll be bringing that out again. He did these experiments and he showed there's no, what's the cell membrane? What is that? Where does it begin? What's the ribosome? How could, if they're slicing tissue or whatever to do electron microscopy, how could it always be the same perfect size? If you sliced an orange that way, you would see different sizes. And so he gets to that these things are artifacts of electron microscopy. No one has seen these things with any other microscopes or any other way. And so you have to process the heck out of a sample to say, oh, there's something there. And as you said, particles, debris, if a cell dies, it opens, stuff comes out. Sure. I have a hypothesis that the lipid bilayer might break and kind of keeps things from splattering everywhere to make more of a mess for example, for your macrophages to clean up. So it would be logical in nature that that's what would happen. The lipid membranes, they form automatically. There's no energy. There is energy, but we don't know what it is. But they form. So if a cell dies and breaks apart, it doesn't sit broken apart. The lipid membrane bilayer probably closes up. And so are those exosomes? Are those extracellular vesicles? Who knows?
Who knows?
We know that they're not contagious. We know they don't cause disease, et cetera, et cetera. And so that brings me to also in your book, do you talk about what symptoms are and symptoms and point out also they're all the same. All the viruses, they're all the same symptoms. What's going on?
Yeah.
Do you talk about symptomology and things like that in your book?
I don't know if I know. I think I don't. No, not like, the flu and all the poxes are the same. But as far as a chapter on that, no, I kind of, I do talk about like Pasteur. I talk a lot about all these animal experiments.
Oh, that's right.
Because all of these guys like Pasteur did it and Sabin did it for measles. They all try to, take the measles out the snot or whatever, and they put it in other monkeys. And earlier they did people. Well, all the people experiments, they couldn't get anybody sick with the flu. But the measles they did with people. And then I always say that scientists, they knew all along what the answer was. The problem was getting an experiment to get to that point. So we know viruses cause this. So let's just prove it. Okay, we're going to take infected material and put it in the nose of this one. Didn't work. Well, let's take blood. So we took blood from this sick measles kid, and they shot the blood into a monkey. Didn't get sick. Well, what else can we do? Oh, I know what. Let's make a cell culture and let's drill a hole in a monkey's head and let's inject it into the brain. And then, oh, look, we finally did it. We proved measles. And Pasteur the same way. Pasteur, if on the back of my book, I have my son who did it, who's very wise. He's very smart. And he did a ChatGPT questionnaire with about rabies, and he caught ChatGPT in a lie, and he caught him on it, and ChatGPT apologized.
That's right.
But Pasteur would Now, these sick dogs that Pasteur was in 1850, what else was going on in 1850? That's when everybody else was getting sick. That's when arsenic, coal was being burned in cities, bad living conditions, bad working conditions. Arsenic was medicine. Mercury was probably medicine.
That's right.
Candles were made of arsenic, burning in the house. Just
right.
pollution everywhere. So people were sick, but so were the dogs. And the dogs were malnourished as well. But so he got a sick dog. He took the saliva and he injected it into another dog. And then he waits a couple of weeks, nothing happens. But he found if he killed that dog and then took the spinal cord out, grinded it down, made an emulsion, and then again drilled a hole in the third dog's head and injected that in the brain. And I guess the dog's tied down for 2 or 3. It took weeks for the dog to die. That's just torture.
It sounds insane.
It is insane.
And so he, as you know, he made big spectacles, and the press is no different 150 years ago than today.
Yeah.
They were bought and paid for, and they don't tell us the whole truth. And so they made big spectacles of these things and scared people, and somehow people didn't turn their brain on and instead say, "Oh, okay, that's rabies or whatever it is."
Yeah.
But yet the dog was tortured. Again, if you take dead something and put it into a living something, do you really need to think hard that might be toxic, poisonous?
Yeah.
I don't. It becomes obvious, but we don't go into the details. But you go into the details in your book, these experiments, and some of them, I remember, 5 dogs. It's hardly a sample, but still they torture.
Torture him. Another crazy one is Thomas Rivers with chickenpox. Same thing. Okay, how's chickenpox has got to be a virus. So, we take infected material and we try to get. I think Jamie on Twitter, he's got a bunch of chickenpox experiments that have failed. So we failed. They always fail to show contagion the way they say it happens. So Thomas Rivers, he couldn't transfer chickenpox to, I guess, other kids or other animals, other monkeys. So this is his experiment. There was a kid with chickenpox, so they took his blood. They injected the blood into the testicles of, let's call him rabbit number 1. In addition to the blood, they injected sand and salt into the rabbit's testicles. I guess they waited a certain amount of time, maybe a couple of days, but then they took those testicles, ground them up, made an emulsion, and then rabbit number 2's testicles were shot up with the stuff, in addition to more sand and salt.
Just like measles and chickenpox parties, it sounds like.
Yeah, just like it.
I might propose that at the next time I hear about it.
But it goes on to there was 30 rabbits whose testicles were cut off and done to these rabbits. Nothing happened until they started soaking the testicles in, I think it was ethanol. Because I guess we know it's going to happen.
Absinthe.
Yeah. So, and then ground up, and then finally, some got fever. I think out of the 30, maybe 4 did get the vesicles that they talk about. Oh, but just shaving the rabbits also produced some kind of vesicles. So you had to determine which one was. It's crazy when you think about it.
Just, I want to know how many rabbits just start having this kind of expression, disease expression or symptoms just from, back then they didn't have lab, animals like they do today. So you take an animal out of its environment, it is stressed. It's probably not eating its proper diet. And what do you think might happen?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's going to start expressing disease symptoms. And disease symptoms to me are a sign of toxicity in the blood. What is the toxicity? Who knows? Chemicals, stress. So it's not all physical, first of all, but it certainly can be. And it's also a mixture of things. It's not just one thing that happens. So that's just, these stories are in Val's book. He goes into detail about how they were done and how they're clearly incorrect, and it's unnatural. It's not a natural route of transmission of anything except of a chemical or a poison to inject. And so
Yep.
Val shows in his book time after time when they try to do anything supposedly from the breath, from coughs, from sneezes, from anything like that, nothing's
there are zero, because people show on Twitter, they show in all these experiments about antibodies or this or that. Show me an experiment where a sick person breathed on or coughed on another person and they got the same symptoms. That doesn't exist. Now we can talk about, I think that's got to be the next step for no virus, because it is beyond a shadow of a doubt that, viruses don't exist.
Right. We're so removed from it now.
It's done, but
it's not new to us. We're like, what do you do now?
I know, because when I talk to people, they either say, a lot of things, maybe the most popular one is like, well, what is it? Oh, let me tell a story. My son's about to age, his friends are getting married. So his good friend got married just last weekend or so, and bachelor parties, going out, a lot of drinking, staying up late, doing stuff, wedding, and stayed up late, then brunch the next day. And then I think Sunday, and now he knows, my son's all on board with this. But the groom got COVID, so just like you say, like, you're seeing something, you're poisoning yourself with alcohol, you're not eating right, you're eating fast food, you're going out to eat a lot, you're stressed, you're nervous about the wedding, you're around, you're busy, and I must have caught a virus. No, you just poison yourself, and your body needs to take a little break.
And so, Val, if there's 50 or 100 people at the wedding and at these parties, why did 1, 2, 3 get it? Why isn't the question, hey, how come those 97 people didn't get it?
Exactly. Oh, we had measles parties, and 30 kids show up and 4 get the measles. Well, what about the other 26?
Right. So you get those questions daily, I'm sure. How do you answer them?
Well, talking about toxins and talking about, it's so complicated though. It is EMFs. It is, I think people are simplistic, not to be insulting, but they want to know what it is. Like, what one thing can I do not to get sick? Well, I'm sorry, pal.
That's a tough one, right?
That's a tough one. I am sure that the flu involves electricity and EMFs.
Or triggering a purge or the flu.
Yeah. Oh, so also, yeah.
I'm going to interject real quick, because there's something that we can all do. It's called developing our daily practice. We develop our daily practice. The practice is the practice of allowing this light that's inside of us to flow freely, rather than holding on to things in all the million different ways that we hold on to it. Oh, yeah, and that also involves holding on to the emotion and then stuffing down a bunch of donuts that goes along with it. It all goes along together. Our daily practice brings us back to the center.
That's right.
And that's the way for anyone who's watching this. What is the one thing I need to do to not get sick, to not die suffering needlessly? Yeah. The best thing that we can do, whether it's yoga or qigong or whatever it is that works for you, eliminate out the things that aren't working and start experimenting.
That's right. Don't be stagnant.
I wanted to interject in.
Yeah. No. You're
such a key question. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that we're actually perfectly built.
Yeah.
And it's all right here.
Yeah.
So, please continue, Val. This is great. Continue. I'm loving to hear your story and.
But you're 100% right about the mind. The mind is powerful. In my book, and I've shared this on Twitter as well. In one of the experiments to get people sick, they put infected material from somebody in another person, but they did a control. usually they don't do a control, but in this case they did the control. So they had saline as well. The group that got the saline got more colds than the group that got the infected material. That's how powerful the mind is.
And then they told those guys that, oh,
Yeah.
you were injected with saline, and guess what?
They
2
cleared
hours
up.
later,
Like,
they're all better.
Yeah, I feel better. It's a miracle, you know.
Have
But
you heard of that one, Doc?
Uh,
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So they've done all these experiments.
I think,
They're
did you tweet that out recently, Val?
Oh yeah. You know what I've tried to do.
I think I saw it. It was. I think
Yeah.
I saw your tweet about it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That's just hilarious."
I've tried to make, you know, certain subjects. I've got 4 browsers open. I'm looking at 50 tabs open on this one. I got so much stuff I want to get out, but it's to try to get it out and that people can understand.
In 3 sentences also.
Yeah, you know, but about the mind, as far as, I guess I was never scared. Like I said, I wasn't scared about the flu virus. I wasn't, but come to think about it, I think I was a little worried about AIDS. You know, like, oh my God, you know, because we don't know. I mean, they're authorities, you believe them, but now we have to learn that they're authorities, but they're not out for you. They're not out for your benefit. They are out for their benefit.
The title of your book, we're told things. They're told things too.
Right.
They don't know things.
Right. Yeah. But just I mean, I hear it all the time. I think somebody wrote it today on Twitter. Like, just knowing that there's no viruses to get me sick is so freeing. It's so like, and you know what? And bacteria exist, of course, but they do not cause disease.
And same thing with quote protozoan parasites. So even 2 years ago, I was like, what, protozoa? Huh? I was like, now I get it.
Yeah.
All of these things, just like us, were created to do their job or whatever. We have reason and something else, right? We have a soul. We've been given a little more, but these things have their role and they don't deviate. The bacteria can only ferment, decay, decompose, and break down things that are not living. And what's interesting is that includes tissues, cells, but it also includes plastics, metals, all the substances on the earth. Else we'd be walking around in, you know what?
Yeah, there's bacteria that can remove aluminum from your body, you know, and I think the bacteria chapter in my book, I don't know, it's what I like it. That's my favorite chapter, is the bacteria, because it's so elegant. Life, you know, it's man.
As far as we know, right? That's the simplest thing in life. And if you read Béchamp, you will read that it doesn't look like you can really kill them.
Right, yeah.
And furthermore, they're inside your cells, and when the cell dies, when your tissue dies, they come out. It's not from the outside.
Right.
But of course, there are bacteria floating around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they're not infecting.
Yeah.
They can't infect. They don't have the apparatuses.
Right. In my book, the analogy I use, a dog walking down the road, he's full of bacteria. He gets hit by a car, but you know, he stays intact. He's not mutilated. And we've all seen the dog inside the road that starts to blow up. That's fermenting.
That's right.
The bacteria were already inside. Now they weren't fermenting when Fido was walking down the street, and the fermenting is making the gas, and that's why he's blowing up.
That's right.
If you understand that, you understand Béchamp. That's it. It's so simplistic.
It really is simple.
It really is.
And so we have schools and very thick books, and you can read them forever, and you can never read. Oh, there's so much knowledge.
Yeah.
What? It's not knowledge. It's make believe.
Yeah.
It's invented. It's inventive reasoning, not inductive, as Dr. Cowan talked about like four months ago. And it is so simple, and as you said, it's so elegant, and it is logical and makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes you feel more connected to the universe, to life, to the world, to animals. I mean, it's
so,
you know, that's been the greatest thing, is just
I'm happier knowing this.
Oh yes,
I'm so happy knowing this.
I know, 100%.
I was agitated and you know, annoyed when I couldn't get the answers. When I
Yeah.
was like, wait a second, I thought it was contagious.
Yeah.
Why is it 3 people out of 100?
Yeah.
Why they just blow it up?
But could you imagine, like, if you did, like, the people we see all the time masking up and getting their boosters, how fearful they are, and oh my God, what's going to get me?
Watch a couple zombie movies and you will be in fear.
Zombies,
The
yeah.
media is now talking about that kind of thing. It's pretty simple, right? We've been ingrained for 100 years with zombie movies.
Yeah. Go, Doc.
Show me what it looks like. The people who look in fear. People who live in fear. Show me what do they look like, Val?
Oh, they're like this.
There you go.
They're covered up. They're covered up. They're
Closed.
They're closed.
You just
Defensive.
showed it.
Yeah.
Afraid to breathe the air.
You see
They
what Val
don't
just
want to
did?
do horse breath.
You see what Val just did? Val just went like this. You opened it up. Now,
Yep.
this is where we got to go back to the ancient stuff, guys. This is why we got to understand why acupuncture works. Okay, have you ever had acupuncture, Val?
I have. Yep.
Met more than
Tell
once?
Probably 4 or 5 times. Just
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Is there an electrical component to it?
no, just the needles. I mean, I think there is some on some,
There's
but I just had the needles.
Yeah, but
Just by the needles being metal and going into you, right?
Yeah.
did you experience pain relief or?
I don't think it wasn't anything. I think I like to try shit. I mean, I've got a UV light here. I've got an infrared light here. I got a vibration plate over there.
Okay. So the acupuncture, you didn't.
No.
Did you have improvement or what?
Well, I don't think I had any real issues. Now, what I am doing just recently is, again,
You just wanted to try it. You just wanted.
yeah,
to
I just want to try it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, the point is, I just wanted to say, because just
Yeah.
quick to put a bow on what I was saying, I interjected because you talked about fear and these people who are living in fear, and they're wondering. They don't want to get sick. They don't want to have these symptoms. They don't want to be sitting in bed all day, coughing stuff up and have a fever, and they're bringing those symptoms onto themselves, creating those symptoms by their fear and by all the other worry, all the other emotions that are acquired when we start stagnating and we start doing this with our posture.
Yeah.
We're collapsing back into the fetal position, right? Fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when we die, eventually we'll collapse completely and let go of all this tension that we're holding on to one way or the other. But it's nice to let it go while we're still breathing, right? We can breathe into the nose and we can open up our posture. Let it out. Shake it out. Let it out. And this is literally the large portion of the cause of our dis-ease is our dis-ease.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Holding on to this stuff that is coming one way or the other. It's coming. We're here on the earth. We're flying through space.
Yep.
We're going to see some shit. And no, you know what? I've been here for a while. And I'm still at the same place that I was at the very beginning. Right here between heaven and earth. And everything I've gotten all scared about and worried about has not changed anything.
Right. Right.
So now it's about, for me, it's developing my daily practice. How am I going to keep getting more and more practiced at not holding on to this stuff, right? And remember, oh yeah, I'm right here. So for the people watching, if you see those people who are in fear, you've been there, you feel yourself.
Smile.
Or you're here because you're interested in this topic and you're like, what is the actual cause of dis-ease? It's what we call our mind. It's the way we process things, the way that we either self-regulate through life or not, right? This is not self-regulated. This is problematic. This is a person, we need therapy, right? We need help. But we can self-regulate ourselves with our daily practice. And then we don't need these outside drugs, therapists, stuff like that. It's all right here.
Right.
So,
and you just seem to also kind of get closer to nature, Doc, right?
Yeah.
Civilization's the opposite right? We're being pulled out of our nature.
I am outside. I am outside all the time, barefoot, laying on the grass, reading in the sun. I hit the beach a lot.
Oh, you look great. What state are you?
Louisiana.
Oh, nice. So you get
So-
down there, what to which the beaches in Alabama or Louisiana or what?
Florida, 3 hours door to door.
Beautiful.
Destin Beach.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well,
Must
yeah.
be nice.
Before Destin, yeah, Perdido Key.
Nice.
But let me comment what you said. You
Go
know,
ahead.
on on sickness, and I kind of say, embrace the sickness. It's you know what, viruses don't exist, but
Be thankful.
but sickness doesn't exist either.
It's a situation.
What your symptoms are healing, because if you have fever, and that's one thing I did for years. I never wanted to suppress the fever, so and that's what I said. Let your fevers run. If you let your measles run too, if you're not vaccinated, and you always let your small fevers run, even at 1 year of age, and then let whatever disease happens, not disease, but whatever symptoms you get, let it happen. Nothing's going to get so bad. It's when you take antibiotics, Motrin, Tylenol, antibiotics, and then you get to be like, oh, I got encephalitis. I caught encephalitis from, no, you never let your detox go.
Right.
You know, you just pushed all that stuff back in your body, and now your body needs a bigger detox event. And if it's bad enough, some people don't make it. Some people do die from
That's right.
their years of suppressing their little fevers and their little symptoms.
And so that's why I said be thankful that your body is alerting you that it's time to detox. And so be thankful that you're healing, and thankful you're not dying. But if you keep taking, to me, synthetic chemicals, which they call medicines, guess what? You're making it harder. And so I hope you heal despite, and we do. All right. I had the earaches after the injections when I was young. I had 4 years old. Just a couple years after getting all the jabs when I was young, I had those earaches too.
Oh, see, I don't remember that when I was young.
And the other thing that we haven't talked about much is dentistry is another thing that just harms the heck out of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that I had molars back here that I was about myself to go get them yanked out. This is like 2 years ago.
What,
they call them wisdom teeth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't get imagine how wise you'd be if you kept them.
Yeah.
I have kept them, and I feel a lot wiser because I figured out how to
Beautiful.
figured out how to clean them.
So this is another thing I look into more of. Keep your wisdom teeth.
That's right. You want to get as smart as you can. Right?
All right, look, everybody's talking about pneumonia and everything kills old men. No, what kills old men, what kills you when you get old, your head for years and years and years has been going down. And you get old enough, the head is the palace of the jing, the whole body, the physical body. You can see everything that's going on with the physical body by just looking at the head. And if the head is in good posture, okay, probably everything in the physical body is good. Once we start to see that head starting to go like this, we've got problems. And we see people right toward the end of life, they can barely even hold they can hardly even get their head to stay up.
Yeah.
And you imagine what the actual effect on respiration, eating food. Okay,
Yeah.
these are the things that actually take you out in the hospital. If you are going to the hospital, unfortunately, you get put into a bed. You're in a terrible posture. That's already your problem. Now all these muscles that literally need, you need to start moving it. You need to start doing some stuff like that and stretching and actually sending your third eye up to the sun and doing the opposite, right? And put a medicine ball on there and push it up. And there's ways that we can do stuff like this. And I'm telling you, add many years
Yep.
to our life, because so many of these symptoms that we think it's pneumonia or whatever. No, it's literally the structural degradation of the posture, every single muscle and tendon involved that does these functions. So,
Which is probably good and I like to eat. I don't, I eat a lot of ground meat, but it's good to eat something tough because you're chewing.
Absolutely.
So when I have a tough steak, I'm like, all right, this is awesome.
There you go.
And I'm chewing, and I'm, I think men years ago, men had wider jaws.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, vegetarian is not. I don't think it's very healthy.
I work with people, brother, and it's a common theme. People that are eating either vegetarian or vegan are having digestive issues, and I just tell them, it's a sensitive subject with people, and it's,
I know.
That's why I say eliminate and experiment.
Yeah.
Well, so I did it too. And 3 years ago, if you told me you don't need any vegetables, I would have called you crazy. Now I won't touch a vegetable.
Yeah.
And so one of my theories and hypotheses is, all right, we need minerals. We need our salts, right? Our cells have cell salts, and that's what makes us electroconductive. Okay, water isn't electroconductive unless it has salt in it, for example. And so the other thing about aging is I think we're all getting dehydrated. And of course, all of the synthetic things we take called medicines dehydrate us.
Yeah. So
do you ever see what Doc described? Do you see old animals in nature looking like that? No, it's only humans.
Yeah.
Old animals in nature are still pretty strong and healthy until they die. Only humans have these problems. And it goes back to all the things we said, plus we're away from nature in, quote, civilization.
Yeah. And we get these irrational, crazy fears. There's this, and it's not anybody's fault. That's one important thing. I try to, no more blame game. I am here but for the grace of God. That's it. And nobody's at fault. There is so much programming out there. Oh my goodness. It programs the complete inversion of everything I'm talking about.
Someone knows something about psychology and they're using it on the masses.
Right. So it is happening, and all we can do is build our daily practice the best we can and keep connecting like this.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Val another question or two. It might be a little off topic, and this is so intriguing to me, and it's about vitamin A. Val, take it away.
Okay. Well, let me start this by saying
vitamin A.
Yeah, vitamin A. Like let's say someone's child. Let's say somebody gives their child Tylenol, and the baby has a bad reaction and almost dies. Okay, well, that mother now for her life is going to be screaming from the hilltops, "Don't take Tylenol! Don't take Tylenol!" And everybody else will be like, "What are you talking about? Tylenol's nothing. Tylenol's nothing." I think the people that you see on Twitter because there's some people on vitamin A topic, and they are like, vitamin A is a poison. But that's because I think that they have been damaged by vitamin A. And I could go back and I could see some stuff as well. That's why I'm a little on the subject as well. But I'll try to be quick. But
take your time, brother.
Okay. All right, guys. I won't take my time then. So beta carotene. There is everything in the vitamin A. There's dozens of vitamin A metabolites. They all start from beta carotene. There is no animal retinol. I mean, there's animal retinol, but that's after that animal ate beta carotene. So nothing starts before beta carotene. And I just listened to 4 hours of video today on this woman talking about vitamin A. And if you eat beta carotene, there's a couple of pathways. Beta carotene is broken into retinaldehydes. I think 2 retinaldehydes. But if this pathway is kind of messed up, it can go straight into your cells as beta carotene and can kill your mitochondria. Whew. Okay, so and there's all kind of studies how beta carotene can cause cancer. Steve Jobs was a crazy person with diet. He would just juice carrots for like days on end. He was orange and he died of pancreatic cancer.
Yeah. He was what? He was
wait,
what? You said he was what?
He was juicing carrots.
right? And then he died of pancreatic. But you said he was what? And he died of pancreatic cancer. You said he was just juicing carrots and he died of pancreatic cancer.
Yes. Yeah.
He was orange.
Yeah, he was orange. Yeah, he
was
turned
orange.
himself orange. Yeah, he
You
turned
said he-
himself orange.
He did. He turned himself actually orange.
Oh, that's a thing. You know what? I
Sounds
have
like a good time.
He
No,
turned
no, no.
himself orange.
no, you can. There's a.
I didn't know.
There's a paper I think I got out there during mango season. Some kids in I think it's Zambia turn themselves orange because they're eating so many mangoes. Now let me tell you, Ashton Kutcher played Steve Jobs in the role, and I want to immerse myself in the role, so he started juicing carrots. He went to the hospital with pancreatitis. So beta carotene. Okay, so then the beta carotene gets converted to retinaldehydes and retinol and retinoic acid. Now, scientists today will say that retinoic acid is the active form of vitamin A. Like nothing. I mean, maybe there's a little effect on some of the others, but they say that retinoic acid is what the cells need for stem cell differentiation.
So they say that in the scientific literature?
Yeah, they say.
Okay, then I know to do the opposite. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, right. Now, Accutane
Yeah.
or Retin-A, what people
Yep.
put on their face. Okay, so that is retinoic acid. So when
Okay.
you put Retin-A on your face, it
And
kind of
they
burns.
ingest it too.
Oh yeah, they ingest it too. But the Retin-A, they tell you don't use too much because you could burn your skin more.
Yep,
And
I've seen it.
What it's doing is it is destroying the epithelial cells in your skin, triggering your stem cells to grow new skin cells, so your skin looks plump.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you keep destroying it, it's like, oh my God, make some skin cells. So look how good I look. But
Yep.
yes, but
It kind of works.
yeah, oh yeah. I don't know. I guess it does work. I don't know
Temporarily. Yeah.
temporarily. But when you eat vitamin A,
Yeah.
it does turn to retinoic acid in your body, and it will attack epithelial cells throughout your body.
And it's making your liver work very hard.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think that's what, and if anybody wants to search Grant Genereux is the genius who figured this out, because he had eczema real bad. He had chronic kidney disease. He had brain fog. He had chronic fatigue, and he goes to the doctor and he says, your doctor says, oh, you got autoimmune disease, and if you get one, you're probably going to get another.
Sure.
What can I do about it? There's nothing you can do about it.
I got pills for that.
Yeah. But then he said, there's some trigger food. There's trigger foods: milk,
Sure.
dairy, eggs, tomatoes. So he figured it out. Like, what's the common thing in all
Carrots.
these foods? It was vitamin A.
Interesting. Was he or someone else, did he or someone else from Romo, Remy Sanders, he's
Yeah.
asking, was beta carotene scientifically proven to exist?
Oh yeah. See, I don't know all that. I don't
Okay.
know. Grant has been 9 years avoiding vitamin A.
Yes.
So
He's down to a ridiculous quote level.
I think 20 to 60 on the retinol level in your body. Under 20 is deficient. He's like 1. And he says he's doing great. There's Dr. Garrett Smith, same thing. I'm in some message boards. A lot of people, I'm 5 years, I'm 3 years, I'm 4 years.
Yeah.
But I did, the jury's still out, I guess.
Well, I'm questioning.
Yeah, well, because what I was listening to today, this lady was saying there's what is it? It's a different form of retinol, and she says that's the bad stuff, and you need the other stuff. And if you don't have retinol, and you have this aldehyde retinol or some, I wrote it down.
A metabolite, whatever.
A metabolite. But again, I go back to Grant. Grant is 9 years. And if everybody's saying well, you need retinol. Oh, and here's the point I'm trying to make. Why would God or nature say, okay, you need retinol, but I'm gonna trick you because you got to get it from beta carotene and it could kill you, or if you're lucky enough to convert it, then you need it. So that kind of doesn't make sense to me, because everybody like, oh, animal form of retinol, but there is no retinol without beta carotene, and beta carotene is not good for you. So, this is something.
These people have done eliminating diets and are saying that they're better, so that's why they can claim that vitamin A. Okay.
Yep.
They can blame it on an illness. Okay.
Right. And the point I made about the Tylenol is
it's weak, but
these people, if they lived with eczema and avoid vitamin A and now it's cured. Grant cured his chronic kidney disease. The doctor gave him like 5 years to live. He said, you'll be in dialysis in 2 years and you'll be dead 3 years after that.
Wow.
And I think he might be the only one ever to cure his chronic kidney disease.
Wow.
by going. Now, that's pretty strong. Now, so I don't know. I'm just getting into it. I'm a year and 4 months vitamin A free.
So
I am putting on muscle.
Interesting. Okay.
It's been great.
Would you tell people to avoid certain foods then? Or try avoiding to see what happens? Do experiments? And what would those be? Here's another caveat. I'm one to do things 1,000,000%. If I think this is healthy for me, I'm going to do it, goddammit. Yeah. And I think, and I've run the gamut of reading, Dave Asprey and McCullough and Fat for Fuel. Fat for Fuel.
No. And so again, I did this to myself. I was eating sweet potatoes, high vitamin A, salmon, high vitamin A. I put a lot of butter on my sweet potato, high vitamin A. I took cod liver oil supplements, high vitamin A. My wife would make a sweet potato carrot souffle.
Oh man!
So I guess the point is, because I know there's probably somebody 20, 30 years old. It's like, oh, you're wrong.
Right.
Milk, and
eggs.
Eggs. I would drive a state over to get raw milk, and I drank a whole ton of raw goat milk.
Did you cut that out?
Oh, I cut. Yeah, I like to experiment.
I agree. That's what we should all be doing. If you want to.
So 90% of what I should get my dog. 90% of what I eat is some beans, a little rice, a little meat, steak, oats, bananas, apples, because those are white fruits.
Do you eat any raw meat?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're crazy. You're gonna die.
I know. Huh? Hey, how about the guy who's doing the 30 days of chicken? Oh no, he's at 60 days, right?
60. He might be going for 100 or so. Or
yeah,
whatever.
he's going for 100. Yeah, that proves that
it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Well, I'm on day 400 something of raw ground meat.
Raw meat, yeah.
And raw over 2 years raw eggs.
Oh yeah,
obviously people have been drinking raw milk and raw cheese and raw yogurt forever.
Yeah, right. So that's the caveat. If you've got no issues and you didn't supplement if you didn't take Accutane, if you didn't put Retin A on your face, if you didn't go crazy on the vitamin A foods like I did, you're probably okay just to, but I think what's important in the vitamin A thing is zinc. Zinc, which you get from meat, zinc helps make retinol binding protein along with taurine. So that's why meat is important, or even supplementing zinc and taurine, because you want to bind this protein. And that's what this video was saying today. She's like, oh, you got to bind the retinol because free retinol is damaging. But again, I don't think nature would do that. So you need the zinc to make the RBP, the retinol binding protein. And if you don't have enough, then it gets free and that wreaks havoc.
That doesn't sound.
And if you go look at all the metabolites of it, it's crazy.
Sounds like science to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you've heard me say, there might be something there, right? If 100 people get rid of vitamin A and a year later they're stronger, better, faster. Okay, there must be something to it.
Exactly, right.
Or we go back to, is it our mind and our beliefs? Our mind can go over the matter. Our beliefs can overcome any of this.
Yeah.
I would say possibly.
Well, yeah, and also go ahead.
If you drink a fifth of Jack Daniels and you tell yourself that it's water and it's not going to make you drunk or it's not going to bother you, hey, Romo's Rames is just.
Yeah, I can't read it because I'm on a phone. What's he saying?
Okay, so Ramis is asking, hey Val, do you think something else is at play rather than an alleged compound, right? Never proven.
Yeah.
Vitamin A.
You know, this video I was watching today, this lady had like 14 different metabolites going on, and retinol was good, but the other retinol was bad. And she had
and this was bad if it had that, but didn't have this. Oh,
yeah, and she had pictures of cells and this coming in here, and you need this one because if not, it's gonna get it to this. And I'm thinking of Harold Hillman. Like, how do they know this?
Okay.
They have never seen this.
That's the crux of Romo's question, and
So
I disagree. Yeah. So I don't.
Well, let me answer Romo because
Please.
I think it all depends on each of us as well. Like, how's my liver doing? How was my stress level growing up? Was I abused? How's my potassium level? And it just gets to be so much. I do think cod liver oil is not good though. I think that's just
agree
too much. I don't know if it's what is it? I think it's retinol palmitate, and I know that some of the vitamin A in fish and other things as well. I don't know. I hate to say everything in moderation. If you put a gun to my head and said, is vitamin A a toxin or is it neutral? Okay, but to Romo's question, vitamin A, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I just know this. I'm not eating the foods that they say high in vitamin A, and I am doing great.
Okay.
I've gained 5 pounds of muscle, 6 pounds of muscle. Mood's great. I think I got some dark things coming in my hair. So
he's getting his color back.
I'm getting my color back.
That's crazy.
Well, and that's what Garrett Grant said. Grant got his color back in his hair. It's something to watch for.
Are you taking or drinking sea salt?
I don't. I salt my food a lot.
Sea salt or?
White sea salt. Yeah.
Unrefined. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I recommend unrefined Baja Gold or Selena.
So,
So that's a tough question, and maybe vitamins are a distraction. Like, to me, I don't think vitamins are a real thing. They may or may not be, but I think vitamin means vital mineral, because I do think minerals are a real thing, and salts, right? So milk and ocean water, it's the closest thing to amniotic fluid and our blood when it comes to these salts.
Well, let me say something else more about vitamin A, because to be honest, there are studies that, these kids have measles, but usually it's like in some little village in Africa or Singapore or something. So these kids have measles and they give half vitamin A and they say to give a placebo to the other one. And some of these studies, the kids who got the cod liver oil say they survived more than the other group. So it's confusing. It really is confusing because there are some other studies where they give vitamin A to kids and it killed like 4 of them right away. They had to stop the study.
Right. So that's how, that's a question for anybody. How many studies, and how much should you pay attention to these things? Experiment on yourself maybe. And then you really know, right?
Right. Well, yeah, because you don't know what these kids are. And these kids might have been malnourished. So now they're getting cod liver oil, which has got fat in it. And their body's like, oh my God, finally some calories. So maybe they survived not because of the A, just because of the extra calories they were getting from, because usually these studies are done, like I said, in some remote village somewhere. It's just something to watch. It's
absolutely.
But I want to get my vitamin A done because I do love raw milk. I would love to
Me
drink it.
too.
But
I love my eggs. I have 8 or 12 a day.
Yeah.
And I want my hair to stay, brown.
Yeah.
All right.
It's something to watch out for.
All right, Val, maybe just one last question, and then we're going to talk to Doc for a minute and then get out of here. And my last question is, how do you respond to people that say, oh, you wrote a book, you don't know anything, you don't have a PhD? Well, how do you respond to those types?
You know what? I don't think anybody really confronted me other than the ding-dongs on Twitter, and I just, and they're just insulting, they're not really asking a question. They're just being insulting.
Good. Good for you.
But it doesn't bother me, in the least bit.
Yeah. Of course. Someone external can't bother me. If someone I loved said something, okay, I might pay attention.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but just a great journey, just trying to get the message out. What I dream about when, think about sometimes, like, can we ever get together, all of us somewhere, like let's say there's a Bailey conference and they're coming in, and we can all go meet and hug each other. That would be so great because I feel such a bond with all these guys, man. You and Sanjay. He's a riot, man. I would love to hang out with him for a little while. He's great.
Yeah, there's so many of you guys, and you're so open. That's the main thing. You're open to learning new things.
Yep.
And for me, some of us also, we've broken the indoctrination. I don't have to go back to what I was taught. I can learn new things. Hello. Yeah. That's freedom, right?
Yeah, and we all don't have all the answers. I'm learning every day,
Unlike Big Pharma, Fauci, etc., we don't have all the answers. And so that's I'm being sarcastic. People think they have the answers, and it's pretty much the opposite. I would say go the opposite of what most doctors, right? Not all, most doctors, most people in a hospital, you go the opposite. And I hope you don't I hope no one ends up in hospitals. I hope you can avoid hospital. But of course, respect to trauma, okay? When there's trauma, when they need to get you back in balance for stasis, okay. It's a little different, but other than that, no long-term drugs, no long-term pharmaceuticals, no. Yeah. And I can't recommend a single supplement unless you want to call sea salt a supplement.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing. The less supplements I take, the better I feel.
Interesting.
Because with Dave Asprey, I'm saying like 10 years ago, and I'm listening to Dave Asprey, like, oh yeah, let me try that. So I think I'm taking, 15. I got 15 bottles of shit I'm taking, and slowly, well, not slowly, but you just keep. I was like, I don't need that.
Yeah. I was doing it. I was taking magnesium and boron and iodine and no.
Yeah.
So now I get all my minerals from meat,
raw meat,
meat, eggs, milk, and sea salt. Right. That's even all the animals on farms and out in the wild, they have to lick minerals. They have to lick salt, or else their electroconductivity isn't working very well. And again, electric.
Yeah, it also shows you how simple it can be. Because I think this was Dr. Cowan. Dr. Cowan said if you had an egg and you kind of had a sample of the egg and you did you sampled all the minerals, it would give you all the minerals. But then if you let that egg make a chicken and you sample it, it's totally different. So the body could make what it needs.
Right. What was created is we can't explain it. And so some of that is called alchemical transmutation. So he talks about that experiment where the chickens didn't have any calcium or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
The eggs.
But now they do. Yeah.
Right. No problem. So something else is going on. You don't need calcium. You need other things. And alchemical transmutation produces or makes the things we need. And again, this is from the creator. We were created perfectly. The doctor, the scientists are not going to fix your autoimmune disorder because guess what? You don't even have an immune system.
Well, there is no autoimmune. It's all a poisoning,
Right.
You got to figure out what that poison or toxin is.
And it's
Not all poisoning.
It's pretty much
Not all of poisoning.
whether it's mind or physical.
Yeah, we have to understand the word toxic, that it has more than just what we think of from a materialistic culture that we have. When we think of toxic, that means there's a toxin. No, toxic is a condition, right? So water is not a problem, right? But I don't want puddles in my parking lot, right? So the condition becomes toxic, not because things are necessarily toxins, but because of all the different factors involved and everything's relative. And the question is, do we want this here at this time? Right? So our skin on the outside is supposed to be more yang. On the inside, we're more yin. We're softer, wetter. When the imbalance comes, you see people, their skin, you can see it. It's like glossy. It's like wetter. It's more yin. The yin is actually coming out from the inside, and now it's coming to the outside. That's the imbalance. So it's not necessarily that they're toxic all the time or that we're being poisoned if we're sick. Because remember, Val, did you ever hear about this experiment? They've done it a few times in history. The first time was by, I think, Frederick II in like the 13th century. He was king of multiple kingdoms, and he wanted to find what was the original language that Adam and Eve spoke. Did you hear about this?
No, I don't think so. No.
So they did an experiment where they had babies and they put them isolated the babies. And they wanted to see how they would develop with nobody speaking to them and what would the language be. They died quickly within a few days. Within a few days, all the babies died. They died. Now they got food,
but they didn't have
water.
Yeah.
They got good food. They got fine water. They didn't get poisoned.
They had no touch.
They didn't have touch. They did not have any self-regulation, because what the baby needs in that moment is, complete connection to the mother for like months, right? It takes. So then, so this is what is our dis-ease, right? And you see how that pattern could be set in a child who is, not raised properly, whether they're isolated completely like that and they die, or they're just abused in some way, whatever. They don't have a good, secure attachment where they basically have a life of faith, right? And trust and all that. And then we're in fear and worry and all these acquired emotions. They come with patterns. You know what I mean? My mother had certain patterns, you know what I mean? And when you showed me fear, when I said, show me fear, you went like this. Mm-hmm. You tucked in your arms. I mean, that's how my mom is standing all the time. My whole life. I've always seen her. She's tight like this. Got to get that flowing. That's not, there you go. We actually have meridians of energy, rivers that are flowing. And that's what acupuncture is. It's stimulating a little point on that river. And, you probably don't ever spend much time thinking or putting your attention on your little toe or those little spots, right? But then put a needle in there, all of a sudden your attention goes to it. Energy goes where attention flows. So now energy is actually going to that point. It's going from here to that point. It's stuck up here. That's migraines. That's 90% of disease is stuck up here, right? So now this is why foot massages work for everything. Bring the energy down to the feet. The energy starts to flow. Just because it's flowing, now we have more health, right? So it's important to understand what we mean by toxins and detox and stuff like that. And we have such a blind spot in our culture because we haven't been trained in this idea of chi. Right. But there's a difference between the chi of a person who looks like this and a person who is smiling, right? That corresponds to the elements. You can see the organ dysfunction in the face. You can see the stress and the emotions that they're having, right? And it's all the same thing. So, the toxic state that we're detoxing is just as much our attitude, spirit, whatever we want to call it, as the stuff, right?
Mhm.
Stuff is something too, because I mean, I've tried to have a good attitude about eating ice cream, but I feel it the next day either way. I even feel it within moments. If like Val, I believe you're talking about, you've pretty much been doing like a carnivore. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, carnivore-ish. But
I mean,
like I said,
brother,
I eat apples and bananas and
okay,
oats.
that's okay. That's pretty good. So you're doing like keto.
But yeah, but I'm like 80% meat.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, if I go eating well, you know, for a few days, whatever, I literally take one date, and I start to feel my tummy start to. It's not right. It doesn't agree with me. Not as easily as eggs, meat, butter. Honestly, that's what works for me. But my point is, it's not only that though. It's not only the food toxins. It's and in fact, you know, our spirit, what we want to call it, you know, our spiritual life is really what it is. Because if we're able to be with spirit, which means being with our breath and not being sped up, right? But actually being right here in the center, this is where we are our original self. We're not acquiring these emotions that we take on through the day. We're letting it come in and we're saying, okay, you can go right through, and we're staying here in the center. And there's a lot that we can do without supplements. And this is why supplements are not helping people, and they're hurting people a lot of times.
Right. Yeah.
They're giving them a false hope and a misunderstanding, rather than telling them 90% of the dis-ease you have is your dis-ease. You can call it mind, spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's the body too. It's the same thing. It's all right there.
Yeah.
So coming back to our basic posture, trust, wisdom, kindness,
love,
integrity, all that good stuff.
Love.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to add that in there. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're almost at an hour and a half, but keep going. I didn't really have anything that I wanted to end with here, so I mean, you feel free to end it. Discernment.
So Val, we touched on a lot of subjects, and so we're gonna have to have you back in a couple months. I hope,
okay.
Yeah, I hope you would come.
Yeah, sure.
And I think everyone should go to Amazon and check out Vaccines, Viruses, and Bacteria, Not What You've Been Told by Val Zimmer.
You know, I say that especially for young people, like if you got friends that are, you know, if your son is getting married, if they
Put your mic back on.
You hear me, Discern?
I do.
Okay, well, we don't want to have any
Val muted himself,
as they call it. He'll come back on. He'll figure it out. Take your time, Val.
Hey,
how's that? Okay, I got it.
Hey, Val, you're back on. Perfect. Val, you're back on, but I got the stage now. Sit right there and just hold tight for 1 second, because I got a hot one for 91 people. Okay? Taking a medicine ball. Val, you got a medicine ball?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. When you get time, okay, all you got to do, you can increase your health span, I think, dramatically. I think we can increase our health span a long time.
Love that word.
But one thing we never do is we never, ever put a load on our head. So do you know how many muscles are all around in here? And they're super important for everything we do. That's really vital, right?
Yeah.
All these muscles, do you know that do you know about the skull is divided into different bones? It's not just one bone, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when I'm actually doing this right here, I'm actually 15 pounds. It took me a while to get up to this, you know, and for anyone who starts out with this, you know, take a first month of just literally just walk around with it. Just walk with it on your head, just like I am. Okay? Get used to walking with it, because now every single joint in my body is carrying 15 pounds more, and it's all in perfect relation to what the main job of everything is, which is to hold my head up and keep me level, keep me at good posture. That's really the job of my ankle right now while I'm walking.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's doing it just a little bit challenged. And everything in between my ankle and my neck is getting worked as well.
Yep. All your whole core, yeah.
So 91 people are on this watching, plus you, Val. You're going to be back in a couple months, at least. You're always welcome. But if you do this for 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, I predict when you come back in a couple months, Val, you might even be a little taller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I'll try it. I think my ball is might be 10 pounds, which might be good to start.
That's a perfect one to start with.
Yeah.
So I started doing this about a couple years ago, and I've grown a half an inch.
Wow.
At least.
Wow.
Yeah, I was always under 5'8" my whole life, and I'm
Holy
over
crap.
5'8" now.
I'm getting a medicine ball tomorrow.
Yeah.
And my face looks younger. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, I started working with people toward the end of their life in the past year or two, and it's all right here. It's all this musculature in here.
Yeah.
And in the mouth. So learning to get all this. And
I'm gonna do it.
start with just the basic posture straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And the good breath. We got 91 people on here. I'm celebrating right now. This is amazing. Discern, we got 91 people watching.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you all for being here.
Doc, everyone's intrigued by your ancient teachings. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, there's the ancient ones, and then the medicine ball is like taking it into the new era with a little something different there to just kind of bring it to the next level. And Val, do me a favor, if you get a chance, since you already have a medicine ball, if you can do that.
I will. Yeah, I will.
You can do that, brother. Tell me how it goes for you. Just be super careful. And for anybody watching, be super, super careful. We don't want to, tear any of these tendons or anything right here, because that'll really be no fun. So take the first month and just be super careful with it right on top of your crown of your head only.
Just walk around for 10, 15 minutes or longer.
Yeah, exactly. Just walk around.
And increase the time and weight as time goes by, as you get stronger.
Pretty much.
Well, pretty soon you're going to have a 100-pound medicine ball in your head.
Another thing that we got to do, guys, is we got to extend our thoracic spine. We got to lengthen the spine. Okay. So that's what this medicine ball is doing. It's not just my neck, my whole spine. Okay. When I walk around, I'm holding it up here. You see what my arms are doing? I'm in Tadasana, like in yoga.
Oh yeah. That's,
So this is some good stuff. This is how we can actually.
Do you do hanging, Doc? Do you hang?
Do I hang?
Doc
I
can
do.
hang.
I do. How long can you hang, Doc?
Huh?
How long can you just hang there?
I don't know. Let's see.
Because it gets to be like a mental thing. It's tough.
If you can't hang long, it's also an indication of, CNS fatigue. Because of your grip.
Yeah. I try to do a bit of it every day, I just go like this.
Yeah. Do you hang upside down also?
What's that?
Do you also hang upside down?
I have not gotten there yet.
Right. So the yogis.
I don't. That's because I stand upside down.
Sorry.
I stand upside down, so I don't have to hang upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Get upside down as much as you can.
All right. Doc, could you just mention what you do Wednesday mornings?
Yeah, everyone should check it out tomorrow morning. That's tomorrow morning, 9:00 Pacific time. Right here. I should get where I get a little more light. 9:00 Pacific time. It's going to be live on YouTube and also on the X Twitter. And I'll be leading Qigong flow. So it's like a standing, moving meditation. It's kind of looks like yoga or Tai Chi. And
that's 9 Pacific.
Yeah, 9 Pacific, noon Eastern time. And it was a really good, it's the daily practice I keep talking about, that I'm trying to just build my daily practice to keep getting better and better. And that's my plan. That's my healthcare plan. So it's not just my healthcare plan, it's my life plan.
Yeah, life plan.
And
I tell my wife, I don't want, I get such cheap health insurance from her company, but I don't want it. I'm never going to use it, unless of course I get an accident and I cut my arm bad or something, but
yeah,
so
and then get out of the hospital as quick as you can and
oh, I know.
and heal.
What was about COVID? They said nobody died at home. Everybody who died of COVID died in the hospital.
Yep. It's the new concentration camp. 2024.
Yep.
Hospitals are the new death centers, and that's just the way it is. It is what it is. And the people that are there are trying their hardest. They're doing their best. They just literally don't understand. They started studying science when they were too young, and their brains were not fully formed. And
Yep.
They were easily misled by the science in the medical.
And now they're 30 years old, they're 40 years old, they're 50 years old. They've got a lot invested in this,
Yep.
including their egos, which are very much built around the idea that they are saving people and they're helping people.
Yep.
And they know better.
And they've got mortgages, and they've got and they're super smart. They're the smartest kids that there were. And well, you know what? We're actually aware that this is the inversion of reality, and
Yeah.
it is okay. Everyone is no blame. You know what I mean? I've been in uniform for the United States Army, so I can't point the finger at anyone and say you're brainwashed. You're wrong, or you've wasted your life, or whatever. You're spending your time and your energy hurting people. We're all doing that. We're all doing that. We're all creating this world together, and we can create better too. So, Val, I thank you so much for doing what you've done, my friend.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're following. You're just following what your heart is guiding you.
I am. I kind of respond to a lot of people. It's like, I'm never going away. I'm never stopping. This is what I'm doing.
Good. Well, that's what we're here to do, is just to keep going, babbling like brutes. And what else are we supposed to do? And we come together, and they want to call their mainstream the orthodox, but it's not. It's not the right teaching. It's the bogus teaching. It's the pseudoscience. And we need more people to just call it out. And like you said, your grandkids are not going to get vaccinated.
Right.
That's huge. That's what it's all about. And
they
have kids, and they have more kids, and let's teach them the real ways. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Well, shoot,
all right, guys.
Back on again one of these days soon, my brother.
All right, I will.
Thank you, Val. Check out Val's book.
Yeah, what's your website, Val? Where do we go to get that book?
Just Amazon. Just Amazon.
Go to Amazon and type in what?
Vaccines, viruses, and bacteria, not what you've been told. And again, it's really not about the money, but I thought that Amazon would be the best way to reach people, because I can't just send PDFs. But it's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. I think it's $2.99 for an e-version, which is the best way to read on your computer, because you can zoom into charts. The book is color, so Amazon charges a lot to print color. So, but the book is $12.99. But it's, buy the e-version, or send it to young people having kids.
Okay.
Just to like, holy, maybe I don't need to vaccinate my kid, because I think we're like, because I wasn't scared of anything when I had my son, but it was just like, oh, it's something to do. It was like, okay, I gotta go to grocery. I gotta get my son's vaccines. It was just nobody thinks about that.
We didn't know any better.
Hey,
I had the anthrax vaccine, and I was literally, when I was in the Army, I was the medical officer of the battalion, and my job was to report to the colonel and say, hey, sir, this company over here is under 90%. They only have 88% of people have got their anthrax vaccine. And the first sergeant of the company whips around and he goes, hey, sir, did you know that according to blah, 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 he knew the exact rule in the law. And he said, it cannot be coerced. It cannot be forced.
Oh, yeah.
And this was 2006 or so. And so I've been on the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all have. We've all been wrong. You know what I mean?
We've all been wrong, yeah, for sure.
We'll be again.
No more guilt, no more shame, no more game. You know, we don't have to be
hang-ups.
So
all right, guys.
Let it all go to God, and it's gonna be what it is right now.
Yep.
Okay for us right now? Am I okay right now? Yes.
Yep.
Are you?
Yep.
Are you okay right now, Discern?
Heck yeah, spectacular.
Okay, thank God.
Thank you.
We're here. Okay, well, for
All right,
CDCFDA, there's been episode 3, Center for Disease Consideration from Different Angles. I hope all 93 of you are really enjoying it. And please share this, whatever your platform is, and let us have some comments here. Thank you so much, Romo. We appreciate it. Great episode. We've had you on before, and we're going to have you on again soon, my friend. Anyone out there, if you'd like to be on this, we'd love to have you. So just send any of us a direct message or however you want to contact us. And we'd love to hear your story, get to know you better. And
get the message out.
What's that?
Get the message out.
That's right.
No Frankenstein juice jabs necessary.
Yeah, none necessary.
None necessary. We remember here that chi is greater than food and food is greater than medicine. So for the CDCFDA, thank you all for being here. Until next time, next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Love and light.